Quaid Azam, Part 181. This is a moving statement, whatever the merits and the demerits of its content. Well, it has certainly explained everything and just need not to have anything more on it. And it has, in fact, discovered the fake faces of the congressionals as well. After an interval of 2 months, during August and September 1933, the Joint Parliamentary Committee sat in collaboration with Indian delegates and heard over 120 witnesses. Among those from Britain and India who rendered their evidence before the committee and held extreme views were Sir Michael O'Dwyer, Winston Churchill, Dr. B.S. Moonji. The reports of much that was said by these witnesses must have increased Jinnah's frustration. He came to India in January 1934 in a gloomy mood, speaking at a meeting held in his honor at Bombay. On 20 January 1934, the Bombay Muslim Students' Union, under the chairmanship of M.C. Chagala, Jinnah expressed his inability to see any light and asked his audience as to what is it that I can do. He again lamented that the absence of the political harmony in India and repeated his plea for unity. There was not one crystallized object before the country to be presented before the British government. There was not one organization which could claim to speak for the whole of United India, and there was not one leader behind whom the whole country was prepared to stand. Unless, therefore, the leaders in the country forgot their differences and reviewed the situation afresh, there was the danger of white paper being foisted on India. Unless you forget your vision of the distant future and think of the immense danger, and unless you achieve unity, there is no hope, and the British Raj must control the essential departments of this country. Well, there had been quite a number of proposals, and the consent was just temporary. There should have been a long-lasting consent on the part of the congressionals. The congressional leaders, in fact, were not ready to give any concessions to the other community. I'm not just talking about the Muslim community, but what to say of those Dalits. They didn't even allow it to their own Hindu caste system, to Dalits. Before returning to England, Jinnah stayed in India for 4 months, from January to April 1934, during which time he worked towards that very unity which he had urged before Muslim students of Bombay. On the initiative of Aga Khan, who was also in India at this time, the split that had occurred in Muslim League in 1927 was now repaired, whereupon in February 1934, Jinnah announced his willingness to accept the office of the President of Muslim League. Then, having finished with the preliminaries of the recognition of the League, he again made a bid to settle the communal question. He devised a new communal formula under which he offered to Hindus the acceptance of separate electorate provided in the communal award for the present on the understanding that after a period to be agreed upon, joint electorates was to be substituted for separate electorates. Negotiations between Jinnah and the Pandit Madan Mohan Mallavia ensued immediately thereafter. However, these negotiations too broke down soon. The interest of the provinces had cropped up again, particularly the representation of the Muslims in Punjab and Bengal provincial legislatures. Jinnah issued a long statement in which he gave details of the negotiations with Pandit Mallavia and left for England in April 1934. Jinnah issued a long statement in which he gave details of the negotiations with Pandit Mallavia and left for England in April 1934. Well, he stayed for a very short period of time in India and then returned to England.